we are starting on my Shadowheart cosplay from Baldur's Gate 3. He is so excited about this project. Klaus is the #1 Shadowheart fan. He is so excited for this right now. Don't nip me, have you? This is my first time working with foam. Technically. Oh, are you good? Technically, it's like my second or third because I made some really awful, horrendous, cursed foam projects back in like 2018 that I will not speak of. I think it's before I even made YouTube videos. What are you doing? I'm gonna go over the pieces and then we'll start getting to work on assembling this and figuring out what I'm doing and planning. I will show you the planning document once it's done. But to start, I have both patterns currently I got from creators on Etsy, which I will link in the description below. Both creators did amazing jobs on these patterns. So the first pattern I have is for all the foam. It includes the pauldron, shield, mace, chest plate, and back part of her armor. And then, is this a game? What was that? What was that? I think it's gonna get you. You're being naughty. So, and then the other parts are the circlet and the little like crown looking thing she has on her ponytail. Both of those I got a 3D printing model for. So I'm gonna 3D print those smaller details, and then these other details I'm going to foam craft out. I was half considering the shoulder pauldron pieces, 3D printing that, but I need all the foam experience I can get. Oh, I did want to note that for the sewing pieces, I plan on patterning those all myself at the moment, instead of using pre-made patterns because I'm very comfortable sewing. So a little note is I've never, because I have like no actually like good foam work experience, I really wanted a pattern to work off of because it's like sewing when you start it. It's really hard to try to like make your own patterns when you don't even understand like what it is you're really doing. So I'm trying to get a better understanding of it, and I think this is the best way to go about that. So I bought my first cutting mat because of this project, so I'm going to start to cut everything out. Okay, so I have been gluing all these pieces together with rubber cement, and it's working really well. I have to give it like a minute to dry in between each piece. Very cool, very scary, intimidating, but I'm having fun with it. I'm just trying to get the final few pieces to stick on this chest plate, and then we can start to do the finishing off of it, which, you know what's crazy? I realized, so foam is still very difficult to me, but it feels, I don't know how to put this, it feels like it moves faster than sewing. Like, I don't know, like once it's together, it's together. Does that make sense? Like it's not like cleaning up your seams, doing whatever. But I'm honestly finding foam really fun to work with. Okay, after looking at Reddit for some advice, I filled in all these gaps with this. I forgot to film it. Well, I actually didn't film it because I was lazy and my video card was plugged into my computer. Didn't feel like detaching it, so it'll need some sanding when it's done drying, but I got it pretty smooth. I'm probably going to add on another layer, but I need this layer to dry first. It is ready for priming and painting now, once I feel like going out to my garage and once it's light out, probably tomorrow. I'm pretty sure that the mistake I made, remember this is my first foam piece I've like ever made. Maybe I shouldn't have started with the front of the chest plate. I was just so excited. Regardless though, the past is in the past. And I'll try to find some way to clean that up. Yeah. Yeah, it is not super pretty close up. Part of me like really wants to redo the press plate right now, but like the logical side of my brain is saying to just focus on doing the back correctly and getting my technique down there so it'll carry over to the front. Does that make sense? Yeah, I'm gonna start on the back plate, and my kind of goal is going to be to really get clean seam lines. So I'm gonna work on my cutting more and maybe switching out the blade more often and stuff so I don't have to fill it. And if I do, I can use like a little foam clay or something that's easily sandable, because this stuff is just like it's peeling away and all because I started to sand it. I don't think I was supposed to. I just sanded it by hand a bunch more, and I'm honestly really proud with it. It looks really good. So for the finishing touch, I'm going to put some caulk in some of these gapped areas, and this time I'm not going to sand it. Now we're starting on the shoulder pieces. Here's what the bases of the shoulder pieces are looking like. Okay, the first pauldron is set. I just put over some sealer on the little cracked edges. Here it is. Not too bad. I learned quite a few things. I think if I were to make a pattern myself that was not bought online, I would probably just use my heat gun to bend these pieces, because it's a real pain in the butt keeping them together when they're like, you have to put them together this way. Although it does create a really nice seam line, which looks really good. I think the pattern just assumes that somebody's not using a heat gun, which is reasonable. The caulk actually works really well for this, which I didn't know what to expect, but yes, this is turning out great. So now I'm gonna get started on the other one. I'm getting quicker with the Dremel, which is good. I'm just slightly rounding off these edges here. I'm not fully rounding them off. I don't know if that makes sense. This is, I believe, when it comes to foam work, the halfway point, because now we just have the front plate and one more shoulder piece. next is I'm going to surround this part right here in foam clay to make it look like it's inlaid. I found out they're actually just big silver domes, so I'm gonna add on some clay to sand down in a couple days. Alright, so now we are on to the final piece, which is the front piece. Technically this was the first piece I did, but I screwed it up pretty bad because it was my first piece. Maybe I shouldn't have started with the front and center piece, but it's one of those 50 feet away things with a blur filter on it, so let's not look at it too closely. Cut it out again, although all I have left is black foam, so hopefully I can still see everything alright, less shadows, and then we'll start assembling it as I did in the start of this. I got about halfway through rebuilding all these parts. So I have right here the base layer with this little arch underneath that would go right here. And then I made, these things are so time consuming, but these are looking so much better here versus when I made them on this. Like I said, on camera it doesn't look as bad. Maybe it will when I edit, but it looks awful in person. So these are just looking so much better. I have an itch on my nose right now and I can do nothing about it. Okay, now I'm gonna fill the gaps in. So now all the base foam work is done on the project. I'll be painting the foam next in a different video. Sorry that the room is so noisy in this living room. There's so much echo. So here is the back piece. And here are the shoulder pieces. And here, I think this one turned out a little bit better, but that's just my opinion. And here is the front piece I just worked on. I filled in the gaps on all of them with this stuff. Caulk. It's caulk, that's what it is. So that has been super useful. I learned so much doing this. Like I said in the beginning of this, or I think I said, it's been like a month since I started this. I have never worked with foam before. This is a brand new thing I've never done, but I figured it would be good to learn. You know what I mean? I feel like there's dust. I figured it would be good to learn because it ties into so many cosplay things. And I also didn't just use like hard EVA foam, like I also used the foam clay here, for example, so I could get that like rounded type shape. If I could change something, I think I bought this pattern that is meant for no heat gun, or like you don't need a heat gun necessarily. And if I made the pattern myself, which I didn't have an understanding of foam enough to really do that yet, now I feel confident though. I would have just used the heat gun to, bro, not the AirPods case. My cat just knocked off my AirPods case. You're being rude. Anyways, so where was I? Of course, there's the first front piece that I made that I screwed up, that I botched. There was a lot of learning experiences in here, but overall, I think foam is going to be a lot of fun for me in the future. and it's not as intimidating as it once was. And Shadowheart, I think all I really needed was a character I was like more passionate about, such as Shadowheart, to really find a love for it, and now I do. I remember those first few nights of trying to craft with the foam, like I was cutting it and I remember having the thought to myself like so many times over, like, is there any way I could 3D print this? Like, any way. But now thinking back on it, I think that the learning that I've had, or that I've experienced while working on this with foam, is gonna help me visualize things for 3D printing and with 3D modeling, because it just gives me a better understanding of like a 3D shape. I don't know if that makes sense. There's so much dust in the air. Anyways, she has so much detail in her outfit and it's so beautiful, and I'm so excited to build out the rest of it. So stay tuned, and thank you for all your patience when I was trying to get this up. Like I said, this was just, words cannot begin to describe how big of a learning curve this was for me and how intimidating it was. And you guys do not even know. Like, me just saying it doesn't even scratch the surface. But over the years, I've been cosplaying since 2018, and you do not even know how many projects or things that I didn't make, or contests I didn't do, or things that I just generally held myself back from because of, well, it comes down to either foam or wigs. I'm getting to the wigs part slowly, but this foam work was such a big thing for me because it's held me back so much. So I'm honestly really excited for what the future holds with this, and I think there's a lot of possibility. So yeah, it's exciting. All right, I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.